Hey everyone, welcome to episode 6 of the character tutorial series. In this week's episode, we're going to cover part 2 of the drawing the female figure. And before I go right in, I'm trying something new today for the sound, and hopefully it's going to be a little bit better. So I'm trying a new microphone and changing the settings a little bit. So you guys can let me know in the comments what you think, if it's an improvement at all. But yeah, and also, as usual, don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends. And enough of this, let's go right in. Alright, so in today's episode, what we're going to cover is a little bit more advanced. So it's going to be 3/4 view and side view, and also a dynamic pose for our female character. So but that's going to require a slightly different skeleton than the one we built in part 1. So this one's going to be a little bit more like the male skeleton that I used in my last video. So maybe it'd be a good idea for you guys to go check it out, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit today anyway. So what we're going to start with for this is we're going to start with the heads. And as usual, don't look at the faces. It looks like nothing right now, but we're not going to focus on the heads today. So it's going to be body only. And before I go on and finish and continue the bodies, I'm going to tweak this thing a little bit further and add a little bit more to it to clarify the situation with the neck connects itself to the actual torso. So if you look at this and split this big box in half, you can sort of draw a curved line that goes from one dot to another, and this is where the neck is gonna attach itself onto. So yeah, just connect those two dots and the neck will go right onto that line. And if you look at it, it's almost like a half a sphere at an angle, like as if we were looking at it from the bottom. So you take that sphere here, you cut it in half, and then if you remove the bottom, that's what you would see. So that's pretty much the same thing right there. So the neck, which is basically a cylinder, would attach itself onto the top of that sphere. So shading it here so you can get a better idea. Yeah, that's pretty much it, because it's pretty hard to attach a cylinder onto a box. So I have this part here, and this shape also acts as the traps for the character. So let's go in here. So again, make sure the neck is inclined and not going straight down, but going at an angle when you go down. And we're just gonna draw the rest of the spine here. Make sure that it hugs all the main shapes of your torso. So the ball for the ribcage, the ball for the abdomen, and then the ball for the pelvis. And as long as it's this shape, it should be all good. If it's something different, then maybe something is wrong with your basic shapes. So you better fix that. And before we continue, again, I'm just gonna go back here and finish the head, because right now it's missing a little bit of information. So I'm just gonna add the ball in here, the sphere, for the skull, and then you cut it in 4 pieces, so in 4 quarters. After that, you don't need to add much more. So this is where I would stop, and there's always a trade-off, right? So if you spend more time on the skeleton, then you'll spend less time when you're actually drawing everything else. If you spend more time on the skeleton, if you spend less time on the skeleton, you'll spend more time at polishing afterwards, because maybe not everything's going to be in the right place, not all your features are going to be properly placed. So if you want to maybe avoid that, that's something I do sometimes also, but it just takes a little bit more time. It's a little bit more work, a little bit harder to do. Is something like this. So you can see it's all the same. I'm just following the same, the same landmarks, but adding more volume to it. And the volumes are still really simple, it's just cylinders basically. So instead of having sticks, I'm having cylinders, and then on top of that, I add like outlines like this to tell me in which direction the cylinder is going. So if I have a cylinder like this, in perspective, then I'll add the lines like this to tell me that it's coming towards me, or it's going whatever. And if I have another one like this, but then if I change it, this, if I want this to be in a different angle, I can have it go like this instead. And this is just to indicate if things is that particular part coming towards me or going away from me. So you can tell here, on this arm here, the shoulder obviously is the furthest. This joint here is further from this one, so the lines are gonna go like this. And in the case of maybe, if the arm was bending like this after the, instead of coming towards us the entire time, if it was going like this, like if she had her hand on her hips or something, then the lines would change and go in that direction instead, to show that they at the joint they change direction and they are no longer coming towards us, they're going away from us. And that just helps a little bit to understand more the perspectives of your character, but it's definitely not needed. This might be a little bit overkill, and for some people it might just complicate things a little bit more. But the good part with this, if you get good at it, is that once you have that, it's just so simple to come up with the silhouette of your character. You don't have, at this point you're pretty much done, right? So I started here already, but you just have to trace a contour of it, hug the shapes, and then bam, you have your flesh. That's pretty much it. And again, I'm not gonna go like this and break the line and go straight down. Obviously that's not a hip, that looks like nothing, but at this point you just follow the lines, make a curve nicely, and go back to the knee, just like I explained for this one. And then again on this side, without breaking the curve, nicely and to the knee. And then you have your legs done, and you can just keep adding a little bit more flesh here and there. And then here you'll need your calves muscle, and that's pretty much it. Everything is already in place. And you do the same for the arm. And if you notice here also, the the joints are a little bit bigger, and basically the size of the joint is going to be the width of the limb. So I'm not going to draw a joint this small, because otherwise my arm's going to be this thin, and that makes no sense. So I'm just going to draw the joint this big, and then all I have to do is go from one side of the joint to the other side here and just connect the dots, and it's going to give me the correct width for my arm. And then after that, obviously, you add a little bit more muscle here, and just make sure that it's anatomically correct. But it's, like I said, it's the trade-off. So you spent a little bit more time on the skeleton, and you don't have to spend as much time on figuring out, based on this, okay, where is everything going? So there's two options. There's not a better one. It's just depending on the situation. So if you want to brainstorm poses, this one is probably the best, because it's easy to make, it's easy to scrap. Once you have your pose down, maybe do something like this before you actually go to something you know, finishing it up like this. So it could be like the step in between, to help you understand, you know, a little bit more of what's going on. But you don't have to do it. And so we're gonna keep going with this. Actually, yeah, let's hide this. So knowing all that, we start again. Well, we're gonna take this whole thing that we have here and apply it to the 3/4 view and the side view. I'm gonna erase what I did here because it's a little bit dirty. Yeah, so I'm gonna start with the spine because it's always good, and here I had it also in a different layer, but you can see the spine here, you know, connecting the boxes and holding everything together. It's gonna be the same thing here. Spine, curving side, curves out, ends up here, tailbone. And with female, we can do also, you know, female versus male. What's good is to exaggerate the shapes a little bit more. So especially, you know, if you're female, if your character is going to be wearing heels, then this is going to be like way more pronounced, and the butt's going to be sticking out a lot more. So actually, let's do that. So I have my spine, and now I'm gonna go roughly with the balls, like we explained in part 1. The balls are basically just so that it's for distances, and when I use the box is gonna be for understanding what's going on, you know, in three dimension. So, and you know, right now the side view I don't really have to do it. I'm gonna do it still so that you guys see what I mean. But it's pretty useless at this point to use boxes. It doesn't add anything. If anything, I'll just tell you the angle of the box. So in this case, you know, again, the same as with the male. For the side view, top box, which is the torso, is going to be inclined like this, and the bottom box inclined like this. So you get this like shape here. And that's just, again, it's following the, you know, the shape of the spine. So nothing too different here. And actually, not the side view is going to be pretty similar. The only thing that we're going to do different is when we add the flesh to it. So there we go. Alright, so now that we have this, we're going to do the same thing but for this one. And so let's go. So neck, and then this is where it comes into play. So let's draw our box. First one, torso box, inclined, tilted to the back like this. Our ball, and then the other box. So if this one you're seeing the bottom and it's tilted like this, for the one that's tilted the opposite way, we're gonna see its top and we're not gonna see its bottom. So I'll draw this shape here. That's gonna be the top of the box, and then incline backwards. Alright, and joints on the side here. As you can see, the joints are like pretty much like in the middle of it. So I'm just gonna do that here. This one is, you know, hidden behind. And something that's interesting with the female, if you look at it from the front, you know, versus the males, the hip joints, they're out here, and so when you draw the lines that are going down to the joints of the knees, you'll see it's never straight, unless, you know, she's spreading her legs. But when she's standing like this one in particular, it's gonna go from the outside towards the middle. Like this, and then from the front all the way down, straight down. And you know, if you were male, it'd be, the joints would be a little bit closer together, so it'd be like this, and it'd be basically, you know, straight down, straight down, straight down, straight down. So there wouldn't be any change of angles in there. So something to remember. So you know, when you draw it in 3/4 like this, you know, don't go straight down either, because that would be more of a male. So imagine that the line is in perspective, and if you look at it from the front, let's say you have this here, then straight up. So that gives you like this triangle thing that you can keep in mind when you do it. So something like this. And if you do this, you do the same thing but in an angle. Gives you like a point of, you know, a target point. There you go. Then you know that, you know, your knee joints are going to be at the right place. So let's hide all this stuff. So we know it's right here. So let's put it here. Bam. And that's only because it's a female. So if it was a male, you know, it would be down, straight down, so it would look something like this. And then the other line, you know, always curves a little bit and then ends up at the feet, at the heel. So then to finish, the arms, not too complicated. Just make it go straight down. Joint, 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 and then the hand. And then the other hand will end up somewhere around here. And there you have it, the skeleton in you know, 3/4 view. And if you remember, at the sphere, again from the side view it's kind of useless, but this point here, middle of the box, draw a curve, and then this is where the neck is going to attach itself to. So there we go. So we have our skeleton posed. So let's move it a little bit because it's stepping over the other one. And now I did this like really quickly, so this is just the heights of things so that those two actually kind of match. Alright, that's better. And what we're gonna do next is add the flesh on that. Add the flesh on that skeleton. So I'm gonna pop a new layer, make this one slightly less visible. And this is where it gets interesting. So remember when I told you that you need to keep this shape here, like the hourglass shape? This is where it gets a little bit more complicated. You know, for a male, it would be something like this. Bam, 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 and then you're done. So you get your V, then you have your abs, your chest, shoulders, and it goes straight down. Well, you know what I mean. But females, and that's why I was saying that, you know, this one might be a better one for females. So, you know, no boxes, no hard edges. It's all circular. All, you know, everything flows well, just more feminine. So I would really recommend for, you know, when you do females, start with this, of course, because it's good for, you know, to nail your proportions down. But after that, try to get something like this before you go to final. And I think it'll save you time. It's just an extra little step that makes your life so much easier. All right. So let's go. And so we don't have, we don't have this one, but we're gonna keep it in mind when we do it. So start tracing. So I'm gonna go and match the outline of all this stuff, and now you can tell the head's a little bit too high, and this is why this thing is so great, because there's nothing done yet, so you can still change things, move stuff around, make sure it looks nice. And match the shoulder. At the torso, we're gonna cut into the box and trying to go get our sort of egg shape again, just like in this one. Then abdomen, then ribcage, which is in the middle, and then try to get our sort of like triangular prism for the hips instead of this box. So we're just gonna cut here, click, click, and then we have it. So it looks kind of like a diamond instead of a box. And after this, it just makes it easier so that we can just follow the curve here. And then remember, hourglass, so we're not gonna go like this. From here, go straight out and end up at the knees. Again, that never changes. Front here, so we can even place the belly button at this point. So just drawing a line, splitting every shape like this down in the middle. So we know the belly button is in the middle normally, and it just happens to be in the middle of that sphere right here. So after that, you can just erase everything else that you don't need anymore. And let's do the other side, the other hips. So again, start from this point here, which is where the hourglass is the most, where the 2 points here are the closest together on the abdomen, and then nice curve out all the way down to the knee, and then here, then from the middle here all the way to the knee. And the knees, don't go like this, make sure there's enough width here for a normal knee, a normal kneecap, and that's about like the size of a grapefruit, I would say. So if you can try to imagine that. So make it wide enough. And contour the grapefruit for this, and then go join up with the line right here. And now we're gonna finish our shoulders, our arms. So not much muscle definition. Just hints of muscles. So the forearm, it's really simple. Not much tricep, not much bicep. A little bit of shoulder, but not too much. We'll keep it to a minimum. Then the hands. That's as far as it's gonna take it. Mittens. Alright. Now, let's erase all this stuff that we don't need anymore. So all our landmarks are now useless. We passed this step. So erase all the inside. And you're left with the outside. A nice female silhouette. Alright. Now we're gonna do the breast, and for this, the easiest way to look at it is think of like a inverted heart shape. So this, do that but inverted, and attach it like behind the neck, or at the neck, like the middle of the neck here. So from front view is pretty easy, because then you can just do like a symmetrical heart, right? So something like this. Oh boy. Something like this. And that's gonna take care of the top line and the bottom line. And after that, just have to erase this part here because it's too much. And of course we don't want the lines all the way up here. And you're left with this. And that's what you're looking for. That's the proper shape. And so when we do it in perspective, here, the two tip of the top of the heart was on this line here. So you can do the same here if you want to give you like a guideline, and you still have the box shape, and you can kind of see. So if you trace a line like this, that's going to be the bottom of the heart. Tip of the heart is going to be right here, in the middle of the neck. And so you can start with a triangle and then make it into more of a heart shape. Alright, very roughly. So that gives you the position of it. Now, again, clean up the inside, erase the lines that make no sense, and you have it. Outside of your breasts. Pretty accurate. So, nothing too big. Of course, if you want to go bigger, then make your heart bigger. Sentence made no sense at all. Taken out of context. Alright, and now the collarbone. You take basically the the very top of your shoulder, and you have your neck here, the middle of the neck. You continue the line slightly, and so it should be like a point around here, and you connect the dots. And the line is not exactly straight, right? So it's more like this. So if you look at it from the top, it's kind of yeah, okay. So it's kind of like this, and it attaches to the shoulder here. Then the other one starts here, attaches to the other shoulder. But from this angle, it's hard to tell, so you can get away with just a straight line. And yeah, now you have a pretty good silhouette for a female. It's obviously still very rough, so we would have to clean this up, but it's pretty good for a start. And so we're gonna do the same thing with the side one. The side one's gonna be a lot faster. So I'm not drawing the head, right, because you can still kind of see it, so that would be just pointless. So neck, just following the silhouette for now. And when I get to this point, remember what I said to exaggerate the lines a little bit. When I get to this point, which is the top of the back here, this is where you want to start to change direction again to get the hourglass. So this, it's not going to be an hourglass from all angle, but there's always like this pinch here, you know, so the stomach on right here, if you imagine it's a circle, so from the back, when you hit this point here, then you're gonna change direction, and this is pretty much the point we're hitting right here. So straight line down to the, I guess, the top of the butt cheeks, and after that down to the knee. So remember to give it like a grapefruit size, then go connect it to the side of it. Same with the top. So neck, torso, ball here. So right now I'm just contouring it. I'll clean the shape up. I'll clean the shapes up a little bit more after. But if you remember, also after watching the male tutorial, it was remember the bean shape. This is very appropriate for this one. So you know, as long as you have something like this for females, a nice bean shape, then you're good. And if that goes, if it's faster for you to just do that, then by any means, go ahead. Right, and so the leg from the back, it's basically, you know, you take back of the butt cheeks and then connect it straight down. Here, it's a little bit different from the front. The hips actually are kind of right here. So, you know, like if you imagine here being the side of the leg, as if the entire body was sliced in half, then that would be around here. So if you take the middle of the grapefruit, go up and slice the bean in half, this is where you're gonna have your hip bone. So the hip, you know, knowing that it's kind of a shape that goes like this. If you look at it from the side, it's kind of angled like this. We're gonna do exactly the same thing here, and start from here, incline it, and that's something what, and this is like the inside, right? So I'm gonna take the leg, make it go like this, then erase everything that's inside. Not needed, not needed, be gone. Accentuate the abdomen, and then the rib cage. You know, the rib cage is right here, so we can draw this in a little bit. And so for the side, you know, the art shape, the heart shape doesn't really work, obviously, because it's on the side, so it would just be a straight line. But what you can imagine is kind of a teardrop leaking from the top of the neck here. So and then like this. So, you know, again, looking at this one here, your shoulder, and then the center of the breast is a little bit lower. So we're gonna do the same thing here. So in here, you know, it's a little bit too high actually. So you have your shoulder, center of the breast is gonna be around here. So knowing that, just go down like this. And there we go. So she's a little bit thick, looking at it like this. So, you know, female torso, not that thick. The male one can get really, really thick because of the muscle mass, but for the female one, it's just like it's a rib cage basically, and the rib cage is not that big. So make sure you don't go too crazy there. But yeah, so I'm not even gonna do the arms. Screw it, I'll just do it real quick. But you know, this is pretty much it. You know, you have your, again, hip, collarbone. It goes from the top of the shoulder to a little bit further down and ends up in the middle of the torso, continuing the line of the neck like this. And again, back the legs, so you have the grapefruit shape. The ball here hugs it and then branches off of it, but not straight down, so it's always at an angle like this, so it looks like the leg is curving. And there we go. So now that we have that, I can add, a little bit of detail here to emphasize the hip. That's pretty much it. So that's your profile for this girl. And I am gonna show you real quick what I did with this. So after a little bit of polish, because the video is now very long, so I'm gonna end this soon. Hide this, hide the box. So off of this, I just polished it up a little bit more, and you can see that's what I did really roughly. That's pretty much what remains. I just thickened the legs a little bit more to give it a little bit of style, and added the breasts. Again, as you can see, it's the heart shape, but just amplified a little bit. Alright, so you can see it here again. And yeah, so that's our skeleton that was posed a little bit, and then finished it up. Added the proper muscles, and then tweaked the anatomy, and then voila, final result. So I'm gonna stop now, and so hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I wanted to see how this skeleton behaves in different angles, and how you draw the female figure, not only from the front but from from a bunch of different angles. So I'm actually gonna do part 3 for that. It's gonna be like the trilogy, and part 3 is gonna cover the shading for this. So I'm gonna add color and all that good stuff, kind of like what I did for the female head. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe, and leave your feedback, your comments on whatever you think of it, and if you have suggestions for stuff that I might do in the future, leave that all down there in the comment section. And that is gonna be it for me. I'm signing out, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, peace out.